What I'm going to be saying in this video, you might or might not believe. What I'm going to be saying, you may or may not agree with. You may or may not even think it's real. I'm going to explain how I used thought frequency to pretty much change my life and shift my paradigm. Now, if these are completely new concepts to you, thought frequency is just the thoughts. It's the belief that whatever thoughts you actually can conjure in your head and quote unquote send out into the plane of existence, you will receive back situations and events of those things, essentially confirmation bias, to show you that, hey, your thoughts actually have some sort of control over your life. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys this first video here in my apartment. I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how I've been able to do this for these past 2 years. Thought frequency and manipulating thought frequency is the most important thing a human can learn, in my opinion, because not only if you can control your thoughts and be disciplined and all this other stuff, but because if you can simply just control how you feel, you can control your results. Now, let me push you guys back to about a year ago. I started college about a year ago at UTSA. I wasn't a huge fan of college. I still am enrolled. I'm taking an online class and an in-person class on a different campus, but I'm never a huge fan of college. It's okay. I like it. It's not too much, not too bad though. I'm not a huge fan. Okay. And back last year in my dorm room, I had a dorm room before I got this apartment. I'd always visualize myself and I'd be working and I would be just like, I'm gonna get a nice apartment someday. I'm going to drive a Charger, the car that I wanted, which I now have. And I want a successful business. I was earning a couple grand a month. I was hitting some record months. Then I was plateauing. Then my results would change. But I was like, I want to be making over, $10,000-$20,000 a month, like in profit. And I saw kids doing it. I saw a lot of people doing it, and I saw the people with the nice apartments. I saw everybody with the cool shit, and I was like, why am I not having this? Like, why not me? And so I went on this journey for the next year in my college dorm, where I'd listened to Bob Proctor, Abundance Meditations. I listened to Brian Scott too on YouTube. He's pretty cool. A lot of just like money meditations, business success meditations. I listened to a lot of like this, that, like pumping you up. And I'll be getting up at 3-4 a.m. every single day in my dorm. I'd walk out. You guys have seen the videos on the channel where I have the camera like this and I'm talking to the camera and I'm outside and I'm walking and I'm talking about something or some concept. And what I realized that entire period of my life needed to happen, but I was doing it the wrong way. Joe Dispenza is a famous, I think he's a neuroscientist, I believe, in the space. He's very well known, especially in the manifestation space. And he talks about how you need to stop creating from matter and start creating from thought. I believe that's the saying. Stop creating from matter itself, but start creating from the field. I think that's what it is. And that essentially means using your thought frequency to feel an emotion that you don't necessarily have in the physical world, which is matter, and start feeling that way and let situations and events become attracted to you, not necessarily going out there and hustling for it. So all last year, I spent my entire time hustling in my dorm, hustling in the library, hustling for the next dollar, the next client, the next everything. And it put me in a place where I was like either starving or I was eating really good. And it was like some months I do really good and some months my results are just tank. And I always wondered why. And so it wasn't until I started using thought frequency to actually quote unquote manipulate the field until I started really getting good at this. Okay. So what this means here and how I did this is I got very clear on the life that I wanted before I even had it. Okay. So obviously I'm going to be showing you guys some, if I haven't already shown you guys some B-roll of kind of what the entire place here looks like. I have an amazing view. Let me just show you guys it right now. Okay. But to show you guys that this is not hard. Everything that you want is already here. In other words, is already created. This apartment was already here last year. I already knew I wanted a view. It was already created, right? It was already created in this entire field, but I wasn't tuned into it. And what that means is that there's specific meditations and there's specific events and activities and specific thoughts that make you feel good, that bring up an emotion. You ever been sitting down or walking across the street and you're thinking of a thought and you feel really good. You start feeling good. You feel excited. You feel adrenaline. You feel happy. Okay. How is it that you're able to conjure a thought in your head and it's able to give your body a physical reaction? There's some things, if you guys have some sort of PTSD or trauma that you dealt with as a kid or something like that, where you think about that situation or you think about that event, and then a strong emotion comes through you. You think, oh my gosh, you get scared, or you feel fight or flight or something, right? Those are specific emotions that are brought up just based off your thoughts. How is that? You're not in the situation. Nothing's happening to you. You're just walking down the street, but yet you feel so scared or fearful or excited. Why is that? And so that always intrigued me. And so I got very clear on what I wanted. I got extremely clear on the desired reality that I wanted. When I was in my dorm room, you guys can check all those videos. I think I must have uploaded over 100 videos of me in my dorm room, just freaking working. No one was working harder than me during those days because I didn't have really much of the external results in terms of where I was at and things like that. I had like designer, I had some stuff here and there. I could take flights. Like, I was living good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm coming from nothing here, but what I'm saying is that position I was in, I was not happy with. I was very thankful for the results that I've had throughout that entire time, but I was not going to settle for just those results. And so I told myself, I need to learn this skill, because if I learn how to manipulate my thoughts, well, not necessarily manipulate my thoughts, manipulate the field, okay, through my thoughts, so using my thoughts, then I'll be able to control my reality. And this is what I did. I'd fall asleep to the wish fulfilled state. I think it's state akin to sleep or something. I don't know the exact acronym, but it's from Neville Goddard, okay? He's the one that kind of termed that. I think it's called STATS. And it's, you essentially fall asleep to the thought and feeling of the wish fulfilled, which essentially means whatever your desired outcome or goal is, you fall asleep to a 5 or 10 second image of that or a video of that, and you see yourself in the first person doing it, right? So that was something that I also incorporated too. During this time, my income went from, sometimes I'd only make a couple grand a month, to well over $10,000, $20,000 a month in profit. I went from not having really much opportunity in my life to having a decent amount of random opportunities, random friends here, getting invited out here, getting invited out there. And that didn't happen. I'm talking about for 3-4 months out of my life, I wasn't invited out to anywhere. I was just kind of working. I was like in my cave, in my hole, sort of just freaking hustling, and doing all that other shit in front of my laptop. And like, that's all I would do. And in my opinion, do you have to go through a period like that? Maybe. But do you have to? Absolutely not. And so now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, if I can teach my body through meditation and through visualization, now it's easier because I have the external results. I have all the shit that I could want right now, the apartment, the car, the relationships, things like that, the body that I want now. Like, now that I have everything, it's a lot easier for me to use my thoughts, push it out to the field, and get that desired result back, because there's a lot of proof around me, right? But when there wasn't any proof around me, you go back to my first YouTube video in my mom's house, started my business 2 years ago, something like that, 2.5 years ago. You see me talking about createmrr.com in my dorm. You see me talking about this stuff in my mom's house. You see me vlogging outside at like 5, 6 a.m. You see me in my old car. You see this stuff, right? But my head wasn't there. Physically, in my body, was I in the car? Yeah. But my head, no, I was somewhere. I was already the version of myself that had everything that I have right now. And right now, I'm the version of myself that is driving a Ferrari, like SF90. I'm out here in a mansion. Like, I'm not saying I'm in 2 different places at once. Obviously, that'd be crazy. But I'm admitting the thought frequency through training, through meditation, and through visualization of me being the person that already has all of those nice things, that already has all of the nice cars, that already has all the nice houses, that already has cash flow vehicles that are just allowing me to just sleep and I gain passive income. So when you start thinking from that place, you can actually do specific meditations to get downloads, and that's for another video. You can do specific meditations to get downloads from your higher self to actually get that information. But that's probably a little bit too much for this video, okay? This video is to explain and to tell you that your thoughts will create your reality. This apartment and anything like that, none of it could have ever happened if, 1, I didn't meet the income. 2, I didn't have somebody to help me co-sign. My first apartment, my dad co-signed for me, okay? And 3, I didn't have the ability to not necessarily just financially afford it, but to be able to handle all of these things. I'm not even 20. I'm 19 years old. I turned 20 in like 7 days, okay? But I'm still a teenager doing all this stuff, So building a business online to the point where I'm earning well over 6 figures a year. Okay. Been to the point where I'm in a nice apartment in a nice area. We're obviously building up my credit for 2-3 years. So next apartment, I don't need a cosigner. Next house, I don't need a cosigner. Sitting with a car, driving a nice car, Charger, I drive a V8. And like all this stuff that's happened in my life, it's happened because I thought about it first. Vision boards, success boards, those are all great. But if you can't feel the feelings of having that thing yet and you feel more of the lack, that's going to kill it. This is the last thing I'm going to end off with right here, okay? Last thing I'll end it off with. It didn't click for me till I heard this. Till I heard this, it did not click for me, okay? And it was this. If you feel the lack of your desire more than you feel your desire, you will only continue to push what you want away from you. When I let that sink in, my entire life changed.